Hola muchachos, ¿qué tal? Buenos días. Aquí tienen el horario para hoy, lunes, el 29 de agosto. No había tarea para hoy. No homework was due for today. You do have homework due by the end of today. It's intended to be an in-class assignment, but whatever you don't finish, please turn in by tonight at midnight. And that is the conjugation bingo, which we started last class and we'll finish today. Daily objectives are to practice listening, comprehension, and recognition of present indicative tense verb conjugations and corresponding subject pronouns. To practice the comprehension and production of present tense conjugations in Spanish. Our warm-up is ¿Cómo se conjuga? Asking how do you conjugate? To fill in the blank warm-up. We'll go over the notes that we went over last class on the present tense conjugations of regular verbs. That corresponds with page 9 in the textbook. And then again, we'll wrap up conjugation bingo. So first and foremost, for today's warm-up, fill in the blank with the correct conjugation of the verb provided in parentheses. You do not need to write out the entire sentence, just fill in the blank with the correct conjugation. For example, the verb vivir in this context would be nosotros vivimos en Zaragoza. We live. Nosotros vivimos en Zaragoza. For the second example, necesitar in the ustedes form would be necesitan. Ustedes necesitan más tiempo. All right, so let's go ahead and do the first couple. Nosotros, the verb comprar in the nosotros form would be compramos. Nosotros compramos los periódicos. And then number 2 would be ellas bailan. Ellas bailan muy bien. So you're using the notes that we took last class on the endings of AR, ER, and IR verbs. Regular AR, ER, and IR verbs in the present tense. You can find those on page 9 of your textbook. You can also find those in the notes we went over last class. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And that'll take you to the page in the Para Empezar module where you can find this. Talked about the 3 parts to a verb being the infinitive, stem, and ending, and that those parts work in collaboration with one another to conjugate verbs. And then the PowerPoint we went over you can find here. Walks you through step by step the process of conjugating. Video here walks you through that as well, and then some summary, some tips here at the very bottom, and along with that, the song that we practiced last week, the O, As, A, Amos, An song. So take a look at all that to prepare for bingo. Walk you through how to go about this assignment. You guys can find extra copies of the bingo sheets here that I printed out and gave to you in class. If you need to print them out at home, you can, although print out only the first 2 pages. As there are 5 total, but you only need 4 bingo cards. So if you have a double-sided printer, just pages 1 and 2. And then again, to fill out your bingo card, you're going to replace the BINGO, which is at the very top. You're going to do this for all 4 games. Replace the BINGO with the different subject pronouns. So the B will become the yo column. Change I to the to column. The N will become él, ella, usted. The G will become nosotros. And then finally, the final column will become ellos, ellas, ustedes. And then you guys are going to pick 5 AR verbs. And if you were absent, then you can just pick any 5 verbs of your choosing. If you were with us, then we picked them together in class. But for the first game, this game will be only AR verbs. So pick any AR verbs like hablar, escuchar, cantar, bailar, estudiar, right? Any 5 AR verbs. You're going to conjugate each of those in each of the 5 forms. So for example, hablar would be yo hablo. Put hablo anywhere you want in that vertical column. Tú hablas. Hablas can go anywhere you want here in this vertical column. Habla, hablamos, hablan. Canto, cantas, canta, cantamos, cantan. Again, we're using the endings for AR verbs that we pulled up a moment ago, right here. O, as, a, amos, an. That's from the notes that we did earlier today, yeah? Everything you need to do bingo correctly can be found in the notes from last class. You're going to do the same thing, another game, for ER verbs, right? And then a third game for IR verbs only. ER verbs like leer, comprender, beber, comer, correr. And then IR verbs like vivir, dormir, salir, escribir, even the verb ir, but ir is irregular. But you could still use that if you're familiar with the conjugation. All right, then the last game, game 4, is going to be a mixture of AR, ER, and IR verbs. So game 4, a mix. Pick a mixture. You have to have at least one AR, one ER, and one IR verb. All right, and that's how you would fill it out. If you're absent, you don't need to worry about playing. If you're in class, we will have played, and you're checking off the conjugations as I call them off to you. And then 5 in a row gets bingo. 5 in a row horizontal, left to right, vertical, up and down, or diagonal. So take a picture of both sides so that you capture all 4 games, and then submit that as an image in Canvas. And that is the only thing due by the end of today is conjugation bingo, presente indicativo, and then just making sure that you guys go over those notes on page 9 that we went over last class. And then the PowerPoint in particular, you definitely want to make sure you have notes on. Hasta luego.